Welcome back to another episode of Extreme Metal Television. I'm your host, Dr. Gore. And in this episode, we speak to legendary punk rockers D.O.A, Calgary rockers Hellrazer, and Norwegian metal masters Audrey Horne. But why don't we get things started with a band profile?
Ides of Winter was formed in 2011 in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. The band is currently working on their debut album.
We are recording fairly soon. We meet with our producer when we get back to Edmonton this week. So I would expect summer of 2013.
For sure. The artwork is done. All we need now is to go in and do it. We go and record it.
Yeah, we're tightening it up right now. We're getting it together, so to speak.
Final format.
And I think it's going to happen pretty soon.
How did the Ides of Winter sound develop?
Develop? Well, look around. We live in the Ides of Winter. We're Canadian, and we draw on the art that we know all about, and we know a lot about winter. We spend the majority of our year in winter.
9 months, roughly.
So we just draw inspiration just from our surroundings, and yeah, snow and ice is it. And just seemed to fit the motif, and seemed to fit the band. And away we went.
Your lyrics, they seem to take on a bit of a poetic narrative. Can you tell us what the writing process is like for this?
Lyrics? Once again, drawn from our surroundings, and when you take fairy tales and plunk lesbians into the equation, the songs kind of write themselves, and away we go. We're just along for the ride.
Well, they seem to tell a story too, from the 3 songs that I've heard.
We definitely try to tell a story with our lyrics. We view ourselves as entertainers, and this is our job. So we're up there, we're telling stories, we're providing visual entertainment, and we're entertaining ourselves at the same time. But yeah, it's important to tell a story, I think. But to write about nothing, that just shows that you know about nothing. So draw inspiration for something and make it an art and express it.
What can we expect next from Ides of Winter?
More Ides.
More fur.
More fur.
Yeah.
More shows.
More cold.
A new record.
More theatrics.
More Lily. More Lily. More Lily.
I actually designed all the wolf fur outfits. So
And the face paint.
it's called frost paint. So each person has a character. We're ordering more pelts of different animals. Right now we have wolf, fox, and rabbit. And
on the Canadian theme.
Oh.
yes. So
Hunted and killed it ourselves.
more props, more effects. I had lights and snow today. Who knows what the fuck we'll have next.
Enslaved recently passed through Calgary on their current tour. We had a chance to sit down with Isdal from Enslaved and Audrey Horne, and we got a chance to ask them about Audrey Horne's latest album.
Yeah, our new album, it's our 4th album and our first on a new label called Napalm Records. And the whole album is a little bit more, do you say, classic rock than we have done before. I mean, we had been influenced by it before too, but this time we've taken it a bit further, I guess. And yeah, the whole writing process has been kind of different this time from our previous albums. It's been a lot more working together as a group in the rehearsal room. Before it's been mainly me and the vocalist Toshi have been working on the songs and together, and then we haven't rehearsed them until they were done. So now everybody's been involved in the writing process, and I think it's turned out great.
So could you tell us a little bit about the recording process for this album?
But like I said, we have worked so much in the rehearsal room all together, just playing and working on the arrangement, that in the end it sounded so good that we decided to record it more or less live. So yeah, we recorded the whole album live and then laid some vocals and a few overdubs and keyboards afterwards. But yeah, the main rhythm stuff is live.
Yes. Do you actually like the live recording version as opposed to, you know, recording each instrument apart?
Well, I have to say yes. It's the first time we've done it like that. We've always like recorded the drums first, then the bass, then guitars, and so we've been working on it like that. And this time we actually tried that with a couple of songs, but in the end they didn't turn out as good as the other one. We could actually hear that it didn't have the same energy and atmosphere, so we chose not to use it. So it was definitely a great experience to record that way. So.
As some of you may know, Audrey Horne's members have their roots in black metal. Now, we asked Isdal about crossing over into a different style of music.
Yeah, it's different, absolutely. Even though, I mean, Enslaved, for example, and I especially have a lot of kind of the same inspirational sources, but it's just like approached differently, taking it to different sides, I guess. But yeah. I mean, it was like I said, the whole way we made the album was just like having a lot of fun playing together, and we kind of approached the whole thing like we did when we first started to play, that, okay, this is fun, let's just go with whatever we want to play and whatever comes up and not think too much, and okay, is this too much on that side, is this too close to whatever band, but just, hey, this is great, so fuck it, let's do it.
Going nowhere.
As the bands that you are also in, do you notice a huge difference between the fans that come to see Audrey Horne as opposed to the fans that come see Enslaved?
Not really anymore. I mean, in the beginning it was quite different, because I think back then to Enslaved had much more of the like old school black metal fans. And so, I mean, when we first started Audrey Horne and played shows, and Tom was in Gorgoroth, he was in the band back then, and I was in Enslaved, and yeah, there was a lot of these black metal dudes who were coming to check us out, and I think they at every show they walked out in like 10 minutes or something, or during the first song. So I think obviously they expected something completely else. But now I think Enslaved don't got much of those like really, what do you say, narrow-minded black metal guys who only are into like early 90s necro black metal. So I think now both Audrey Horne and Enslaved has fans who really like music.
It must have been the poison that left a hole where my senses once were. I'm going nowhere.
Two of the newest members of the EMTV team, William and Nancy, recently caught up with legendary Punk Rockers D.O.A. when they were in town on their farewell tour. Now, William spoke with Dirty Dan and Floor Tom Jones. He asked them what they thought of the evolution of punk.
That's a big question, but I don't know, punk music was like, well, it definitely changed in the 90s, because all of a sudden punk rock music became radio-friendly.
Oh yeah, that's
right?
for sure.
So, I mean, it's arguable that bands like Green Day are a punk rock band, but I kind of think of them as a punk rock band that's, you know, inspired by punk rock and plays punk rock. I don't know if that's true now, but you know, they're 10 years or 15 years into their existence, so it's changed quite a bit, because it became really acceptable in the 90s, thanks to songs and
which is kind of the opposite to the whole deal being acceptable.
Yeah, exactly. Because you know, I wasn't a part of the first wave of punk rock music, right? I'm 40 years old now. I saw DOA for the first time in 1986. I was 14 years old. I was born in 1972. So I wasn't there for that 77, 78, 79, 80, 81 kind of thing. And from what I gather, I was alive. It was a response to crappy music, basically, violating people's ears during that time frame. So it was a direct response to that being to trying to change things.
I was 10 years old when the first wave sort of came out. I just remember my dad seeing some report on the news about this punk rock music, and he's like, "Oh my God, that is so terrible. I hope you never get involved in something like that."
And then you're thinking
immediately, "Ooh, I want to get involved.
I want to get involved with something like that."
DOA main man Joe Keithley, aka Joey Shithead, has been deeply involved in politics for a long time. He most recently made a bid for the NDP nomination in Coquitlam, BC. Now, William asked Dan and Tom where their political alliances lie.
Well, politics is funny because I don't think people these days have, it's tough to have one sort of, I mean, I agree with sort of ideas from a couple of different parties, and it's tough to align yourself with one, definitely not the Conservatives.
That liberal-haired weirdo.
There's some things about the Liberals I really don't like. I mean, I'm a big Obama fan. If I was an American citizen, I would definitely vote for him. But it's tough. It's a tough thing. It's really kind of fucked up right now, right?
Yeah,
so,
it really is. I think I'm a kind of a socialist. That's just my views are social about social.
Yes, yeah. I
looking
think
after
it's definitely important to have a real good, solid sort of safety net for our society. Like, it's a society.
Biggest influences so far, even in newer music.
Well, I don't know. I don't. Newer music. I'm not really inspired by a lot of newer music, to be honest with you.
Well, it doesn't matter. Like,
I was inspired by DOA when I was a kid. When I was 14 years old, and I first started to play drums. I wanted to learn to play drums to DOA records. Yeah. Right. That was definitely something when I was 14, and it was cool.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm lucky enough to be in the band and play with Joe now and Dan.
Finland Radio presents the top 5 must-listens of this month. Coming in at number 5, Opus 1, All My Kingdoms by Heavitar. Van Canto main man Stefan Schmidt adds guitars to the mix, and the result is some fist-pumping power metal. Get that one through Napalm Records. At number 4, Origin of Extinction by Mortillery. Alberta's own released their second full-length full of straight-up in-your-face thrash. That one's also out via Napalm Records. At number 3, Nemesis by Stradivarius. After 14 studio albums, who knew these Finns still had it in them? Nemesis is the album that Stradivarius fans have been hoping for. Power metal the way it should be, out via Armory Records. And in the number 2 spot, The Underground Resistance by Darkthrone. Fenrez and Nocturnal return to doing what they do best. Enough said. Get it now through Peaceville Records. Coming in at our number 1 spot this month, Katatan Daimona Itoi by Rotten Christ. After 26 years, these Greeks continue to push themselves musically for extreme metal with a twist. Check it out via Seasons of Mist. Subscribe to Finland Radio via iTunes to hear the best new metal every single week.
We caught up with Calgary metalers Hellrazer at their CD release party. We asked them about this album.
All right, well, we spent about 1.5 years writing material, spent another year recording it slowly, and we finished it at about December last year, and sent it off for mastering to Nashville, to Michael Wagner's studio, kind of polish it up, and then it was officially released worldwide today. So for us, it's a step forward from the last one. We actually went to a proper studio and spent the right money to make it sound good.
Hellrazer has that classic metal sound and that classic metal feel. Could you elaborate upon that? I mean, is it because of your influences? Is it because you just like that specific style of music?
I think it comes down to playing what you like to listen to, right? So I personally am a classic metal fan. I like Maiden, Priest, all the European power metal bands. And I enjoy listening to it, and I don't care so much for some of the more crossover new metal and core stuff. So naturally, the songwriting moves in that direction for me, and I think it's true for all of us. We all have our influences, and somehow we come together, right? And create music that we all like.
Hellrazer recently signed up with a German label. We asked them to tell us about it.
So we have a MySpace site that was, at the time when MySpace was still pretty good, you know, and we had a few songs up there. And this guy who owns the label found one of the songs that he really, really liked and goes, you know, you guys blow me away, we should talk. And that's how it happened. And we started emailing, and none of us were really sure whether this was legit, you know, kind of some guy from Germany, you know, but it can't be real, right? And you know, then they didn't communicate with us all that much. It was sort of slow, but they kept kind of engaging us once a month or so. How's it going? And how's your album coming? And then finally, when it was crunch time, I said, look, we're going to master the album, and if you don't send us the paperwork, you know, we're not going to spend as much money as we would have to if we're actually on the label. And then suddenly it went like this, and we had the contract in our hands.
What is the next big step for Hellrazer?
Rock in Rio.
Tour.
Conquer the world? Conquer the world. Sell 10 million albums? I don't know.
I think maybe one step in between is our record label is based in Germany. And so we're not sure, but we might work out a chance to maybe do a short tour in Europe. I think we, with a little bit of luck, we might find a good audience there who enjoys our music.
I would like to thank you all for tuning in, and I'd like to thank my co-hosts King and Simon, as well as all the new recruits on the EMTV crew. You can find us on Twitter at Extreme Metal TV, or look for us on Facebook, or you can even email us at extrememetaltv@gmail.com. Now we're going to end things off with some live footage from Battlecross, and until next time, see ya.